Hola, cage fighting connoisseurs. This is KidNativeBloodyElbow.com, joined once again by the ineffable, the ineluctable, the inevitable Eugene S. Robinson, author of Fight, everything you ever want to know about ass kicking, but we're afraid you get your ass kicked for asking. Eugene,
Ha! You did it, man.
I did.
That's pretty. I think we're done then.
Show's over. Thanks, everybody. That was the UFC 187 Care Don't Care preview, and hey, I nailed it. We care. Have a great time.
Well, this is. I mean, this is kind of a joke because we care about the fight going into it. I don't think we have had a bigger care this year yet. Quite exactly.
No, not in a couple of months. The first couple of months of the year when we had Jones Cormier, and then Rousey had a fight. But this is definitely the biggest card. Not quite as big as it would have been had John Jones not gotten presumably intoxicated.
No. You're making a terrible error. This fight is by now order of magnitude much more significant, I think.
But is it going to be bigger? Are more people going to watch it?
This I don't know. You know, this is. I mean, you're asking me to prognosticate about the staying power of the casual fan, which I can't begin to do or to think about really. But I need to tell you that this is super significant in ways that I don't think the average person has really gotten their hands around. You know.
See, and I can count on you to bring that secret knowledge to light later
Well,
in the episode. What?
Go ahead. I mean, to be functionally significant here, you have to you're going to have to carry John Jones well beyond the end of the pier, you know, and he's going to have to be not only you're going to have to carry him there, he's going to have to be carried there, and in his mind, he's going to have to be there. It has to be the default option is nothing. You know, that's you have to understand that you are no longer light heavyweight champ. You know, the world is not clamoring for your return. Greg Jackson is kind of pulling the chimp chill out. You know, it's kind of like, hey, John, how you doing, John? What's happening? Yeah. And then nobody's talking to you. The phone calls. You got to have this fucking void that suddenly yawns in front of you, where you have to say, you know what, Anderson Silva's right, man. I need to go commune with nature. Spend some time with my kids. Clearly, I cannot handle the rigors of winning in America. So I'll just, I'll coach kids junior wrestling and let everybody at it. And I think that's, because he's not invited to the fights. He's not going to have a seat cage side. I mean, he's complete persona non grata. It's like the Scarlet Letter, man. There was a great, I think it was Robert Heinlein or some science fiction story where for the crime of being antisocial, they would mark you with a sign on your forehead, which made you invisible. And at first the guy was laughing and thought it was great because the crime for recognizing somebody who was invisible was invisibility. They would also give you the sign. So people took it really seriously. And at first he was like, I can walk into women's restrooms. I can go to banks and take money. I'm invisible. But then he figured out that, a cop could also shoot in that general direction and not go to jail for having killed him because he was invisible. I didn't see him, So at first the guy thinks it's a great lark, but after 2 or 3 months, total fucking misery. And he's starting to figure, we're social creatures. There's some benefit. John Jones has got to discover that there's a benefit to community that he's chosen, like Hyman Roth. This is the job we've chosen, and come back. And if he doesn't, it's like there's people like, oh, should he get a challenge right away? He's done, man. Right now, until somebody tells you differently, that fucking guy is done. So Cormier, Rumble, operating in the shadow of it. Don't fall for the Larry Holmes rope-a-dope. John Jones doesn't exist. He's invisible, So fight and win it like you own it, because you have this one window of opportunity to fucking establish something, to get beyond Larry Holmes. Don't blow it. So to me, in my mind, this is a super, super significant fight,
And you're speaking, of course, of the light heavyweight championship, not an interim championship, the full-on title championship between Anthony Rumble Johnson and Daniel Cormier. Cormier, of course, who lost to John Jones in January, and Rumble Johnson is coming off a win over Alexander Gustafsson. But we will get to that later. We've got to run through the whole card, Eugene. You raced ahead to the big care.
We know what people are thinking about it.
And you haven't even given a disclaimer.
Well, this disclaimer is hard to give at this point, because they're not going to be.
There's plenty of don't cares. There's a few.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, okay, let's see. crybabies and bedwetters. You know, if you get glossed with a don't care, don't get your panties in a bunch. It has less to do with your skills and talents as a fighter and much more to do with the absence of marketing power behind you by your bosses and overseers, the UFC. Take it on the chin, take it like a man, fight an interesting fight, and maybe you'll move from the don't care to the care calm, like Chris Colliard Greens or Jonathan Webb. It happens. I remember their names well enough to be able to quote them here.
Neil Magny has even made it into the care column.
Yep, Neil Magny.
That fight with Ace Lim last week was really pretty thrilling. So
completely natural, non-performance enhanced.
I can't get into the speculation with you, Gene. I don't have the controversy.
Are you one of those guys that goes to Thailand and goes, I think that might be a dude?
I like to see proof. Let's just say I like to see evidence.
See proof. I guess you got to play the crying game.
Indeed.
If you're under 40, you don't know what I just said.
No, it's sad to see our cultural references just fade away into irrelevance. But
really, it's sad. Try talking to a 22-year-old girl. See how.
I gave that up when I was 30, man. I went on a date after I got divorced with a 24-year-old and was just like, I can't even. And it was like one date, and I would have been there, and I was like, I can't even stand, dinner with this chick. Like, it's just, it was kind of a sad day. But
you should be, hey, baby, do you speak penis? Because I speak penis. There you go. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in retrospect, I know that now. But at the time, I thought I needed to buy dinner and have a conversation. So,
right.
Moving on. But so that we've got 3 fights on the Fight Pass prelims. We've got flyweights Justin Scoggins and Josh Sampo opening it up.
Why do I care about Scoggins? Who did he fight last?
He had a little bit of hype coming in or going around at
which makes it a care in my mind.
Yeah. He fought. He's got 2 losses in a row. He had quite a head of steam actually. He was 2-0. Then he fought Dustin Ortiz, the redheaded kid, and lost.
That's right.
A split decision that he was supposed to win, and then he got blitzed by John Moraga last time.
That's right.
Although Moraga then didn't make weight. So Scoggins is somebody who's looking for redemption, and I don't know. Yeah, so I give him a care too, just for Scoggins. I don't think I care about Justin.
Yeah, except you're also gonna pick him.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely picking him. Guy I've heard of over guy I haven't heard of or can't remember. I'm gonna go with guy I've heard of.
Fights for redemption.
That's
like his hair is on fire.
I used to know a guy who would set his hair on fire at shows. And
really? Who?
Some guy that Fuck Emos knew when we played with him in San Francisco. And he was
Jesus Christ. Fucking stupid, man.
He had a way of controlling the burn, but it put off a
there's one time I was in Lucerne, playing a show in Lucerne, Switzerland, and I was somehow in a bad mood, and they had put bottles on the stage. First of all, in our contract, I've refused to drink from plastic bottles. So I said, must have glass bottles with water in it. And they put them all over the fucking stage. And so I'm walking across the stage in the middle of the show, and I go, this kind of niggardly lack of, you always got to be easy with that word, Niggard.
Completely, it's Scandinavian etymology, completely unrelated.
Completely unrelated. Attention to detail. Why would you put a big glass bottle on the stage? So I have this temper tantrum. I mean, I was in the middle of a show, so it was apropos. And I just kicked the fuck out of this broken glass and water everywhere. And I surveyed my work. I was like, now that's great. And then I realized I got water on a slick wooden stage and broken glass every step of the way. So if I was Darby Crash or Iggy Pop, I'd be rolling around that stuff right now. I said, but I'm Eugene Robinson, also known as Mr. Softy. Hey, could you get a broom out here? Could you get a broom? Beat this fucking shit up. Fuck that.
I bet the rest of the band was thrilled with that as well.
They were just happy I wasn't having sexual contact with an audience member on stage.
I see. Baby steps. It's all about.
You got to lower the bar a little bit when you're hanging out with me. Oh, he wore a clean shirt, and he's got pants on. All right.
It's progress. Every day is a new day with Judy Garland. I mean, Eugene S. Robinson. Oh, all right. Moving on. Lightweights. Islam Makhachev.
First of all, you see what I'm doing here?
Writing it down. Are these picks you're writing down or care?
Yeah, why not? So we picked Scoggins.
Yeah, we picked Scoggins. We
All
both
right, go
picked
ahead.
Scoggins. All right, lightweight, Islam Makhachev versus Leo Kuntz.
You mean Mike's brother?
Yes, indeed.
We all went to junior high. Get used to it. I don't care.
No, I don't either. All right, welterweight, Mike Pyle and Colby Covington.
Yes.
Yes, I care
Colby
too.
Covington is be showing up in his Rolls Royce with
Poor little rich kid.
Rich. I care, but why do I care?
Mike Pyle,
Yeah, Pyle is why
legendary
I
veteran.
care.
Yeah.
I think Pyle is. Did he lose it? I thought he lost his last fight. Last time I saw him fight,
He's
he
been
lost.
up and down. Let's see. Let's look at. Yeah, he lost to Jordan Mean pretty
Yep.
handily in the first
Yeah.
round, and he lost to Matt Brown 2 fights before that. He took out
Yeah.
T.J. Waldberger before that. So he's
That's right. Because that T.J. Wahlberger takeout was particularly satisfying because there were some posters who were like, "Oh, how could you not know T.J. Wahlberger? You call yourself a jiu-jitsu guy. He is a top." And Wahlberger got pasted in like 37 seconds.
it was the third round, but still, it's the thought
Third
that
round,
counts.
37 seconds, whatever. Then it was like.
Tumbleweeds were blowing down Care Street.
Yeah. So I care.
I care as well. Are you going to pick Mike Pyle?
Nah, I'm not going to pick Mike Pyle.
Man, he's 1-3 in his last 1-2 in his last 3 fights, but he had a 4-fight winning streak going before that.
Yeah, that's what we call a gift.
All right.
You know, it's like he's like Lucy Van Pelt with his career. He's like, come on, here's the ball. I promise I won't yank it out again. You know, no, I don't trust you. Like the angel and the prostitute with the bananas up her butt. Remember that story?
No.
I guess you don't remember that story. You got to watch Knuckle Up, my friend.
Did you see the hooker that gave the Silicon Valley exec the fatal dose of heroin pled guilty the other day?
Yeah, I thought she should have fought that a little bit, you know.
Why?
You know, it's that whole John Belushi thing, right? He was complicit. So what are you going to peg her on the Good Samaritan law? He was complicit. What if he had done the shot himself? You know, I knew guys when they were taking steroids, they're like, I can't reach around to my buttock, so I'm going to have somebody else shoot me. Something happens to that guy, like sometimes somebody took Winstrol and noticed that Winstrol was milky white. So they say, hey, that looks just like Armorall. So they swapped Armorall for Winstrol to try to make a few extra bucks. Some guy injects it into his buttocks. You know, he gets necrosis of the tissue, has to get his ass cheek cut off.
That's pretty awful.
Yeah, well, you know, if there's a joke in there about being half-assed, but I won't be the one to make it. So,
all right.
So, you know, what is the hooker shoots him up with heroin? He requested the hooker. He requested the heroin. I don't know. God knows why
he didn't request to be abandoned to die on his fancy.
You know what? If you ever hung around guys who shoot junk, man, some of them have standing orders. Do not resuscitate because you'll ruin my high. I told you that story about that guy with the tank of cash, made it back from the hospital. And was like, you owe me $60. I told you not to wake me up.
Well, everybody's got their priorities.
Fortunately, she's been in jail for a year. And so they're only going to give her 3 more years. So that's total. Unless they get something with the boyfriend who died under similar circumstances, she's out in 3 years.
That's the thing. That was the thing. There's a little bit of a Black Widow pattern going on here. That
she hangs out with junkies, man. I mean, how many guys I know who are fucking dead from junk? What you gonna put me in jail for that?
How many of them did you shoot up, EJ?
0.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the thing. All right, let's move on to the Fox Sports 1 prelim card. 4 fights, women's strawweights, Rose Namajunas and Nina Ansaroff opening it up.
I care, and I'm picking Rose.
You picking Rose, huh? I'm tempted to be contrary here, but I'm not. I'm going to go with Rose as well, but I think you might be falling for the hype, EJ.
Hey, can we just stop for a second, man? Just this whole thing, man, with Ronda. Can we just really God damn?
You're not enjoying the book tour?
I'm not enjoying like this fucking sexification of Ronda, man. It's just bringing me down, you know.
What sexification?
These little tidbits, these little fucking coquettish tidbits. The SI cover was bad enough. Now there's the flirtation with did I or didn't I with Dana White. the married fucking Dana White. I think it's bad taste. And now, I'll fight Mayweather if we could date afterward. Jesus Christ, stop!
No. The dating thing, she was making a sly reference to domestic violence there. She was basically saying, he's not going to fight me, I'm not his girlfriend. That was what she was saying there.
All right. Well, that's not
And
the way it was written up.
And she denied the whole Dana White thing. Like, she absolutely flatly denied that.
Who was it? Was it Ulysses, some old Andrew Jackson, Ulysses S. Grant, somebody said, or Eisenhower maybe, you know how you know when to believe things in politics? When they start denying them.
Well, that puts her in a tough spot, and she's not the one who asked the question. She's just doing her book tour, all American hawking her product.
Happy about that, man. I mean, you got to be savvy about that. Are you asking me about individuals? Lindsay Lohan just released a list of the celebrities that she had sex with. It's like, I don't want to fucking know that. Come on.
I mean, is it because you weren't on it?
No, she grosses me out. No, it's like, you know what?
Gross,
when they made revenge porn illegal, then I was done.
I see.
They just took. I was heavily leveraged in the amateur videotape department. That was my hedge against inflation. And now what am I gonna do? I got nothing. They yanked the bottom out of my market.
Well, a few bad apples spoiled revenge porn.
Right, that's right. Ruining it for everybody.
All right. So, middleweight, Uriah Hall and Rafael Natal.
Yes.
But even though Rafael Natal is notoriously dull and is exactly the kind of fighter who can get Uriah Hall into a snooze fest.
That's why it's such a great fight, because you may not believe it, and nobody else may not. But I'm remembering when Uriah Hall was on the edge. And in my mind, he is actually still on the edge, because I know he's getting paid better than everybody else. So, he's still, as far as I'm concerned, he's not off of probation. So you're either going to be a fighter or you're going to go the fuck home, So yeah, I care about this fight, and I'm going to call it for Uriah. I actually think
I got to call it for Uriah too, because I think Natal is aging quickly. But as far as like saying you're actually looking forward to this, that's like people saying, yeah, I really enjoy listening to Metal Machine music just on the regular, I mean, I like a few seconds of Metal Machine music every now and again. Like, I don't put all four sides on there and just...
Well, you know what? When I listen to Metal Machine music, you know what I think of? I think of his first hit ever.
Walk on the Wild Side?
No.
What?
He had an embarrassing past, much like Ronnie James Dio, as like a 1950s or early 1960s
writing songs, but none of those were hits.
No, but like the kind of doo-wop 50s. It's just funny to think about Lou Reed. Shaboom, shaboom.
He never denied being a doo-wop man. He just said he wasn't a blues guy.
He had some really rudimentary,
The Ostrich. It was a dance craze attempt and some other stuff like that.
What was it called?
The Ostrich. That was his attempt at a twist, sort of. But hey, he was drawing a salary for that. He was getting paid whether they were hits or not.
Yeah, right. Well, whatever. So, it just that's the connection I make with Metal Machine music. It's like, I mean, at least Yoko, has no. I mean, yeah, she came from money, so I guess it doesn't matter. But she doesn't have any embarrassing chestnuts. So when she does something straight out of Fluxus, wild ass kind of modern music thing, you gotta go, okay.
Well, I mean, that's consistent with her Japanese operatic training and her what school of art was she in New York before she went to London to stalk John Lennon?
Fluxus.
Yeah, well, Fluxus, but there's a bigger, broader. It was
I don't know. I can't remember.
Whatever. Happenings, et cetera, et cetera. So, Yoko, obviously, beyond embarrassment. And I like the first few Yoko Ono albums. Some nice, nasty rock and roll noise, I think. All right. And it makes hippies just insanely furious,
Yeah. They got to get over that, man. They really.
Yeah, they're not getting over anything. It doesn't seem like. Eventually, they will die. Jang Hyung Stun Gun Kim versus Josh Berkman welterweight fight.
Care.
Big care about both these guys. Do you have a pick?
I'm gonna have to go to Stun Gun, man. I'm gonna have to go.
Even though with his new vow to fight like a crazed lunatic and be the Korean Zombie Mark II.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with him. Can I articulate reasons why? I think he's due, and in the same way that I think he's due, I think Berkman is due, just for something else.
Due to catch a beating.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Bergman's exactly the kind of wrestler that the Stun Gun feasts on. And although you would have thought Hector Lombard would have thrown him around more, that fight was pretty.
Bud.
Yeah. It is what it is. All right, so flyweight, John Dodson versus Zach Makovsky, former Bellator bantamweight champ. Big care, and do you have a pick?
Dodson.
All the way.
Yep.
Easy. Although Makovsky's tough.
Makovsky's tough, but Dodson, Dodson got so fucking close. So close. And then he's been like yesterday's man since then. And I don't think he deserves the yesterday's man status. He's close. I think, the issue for him at this point is irrelevancy and the attempt to send a very serious message,
Yeah, he needs to knock Makovsky out quickly. He's talking shit. Dodson is saying that he could knock out Conor McGregor, so he needs to back it up.
Yeah, Conor McGregor needs to back it up.
Well, that too, but I mean, and it's savvy of Dodson to get in there and try to get some of the Conor McGregor clickbait, but
Yeah.
But we'll see. I
was surprised we didn't see Conor McGregor over there with Prince Charles and Jerry Adams. Hey, buyers! Hey, Jesus!
He secretly negotiated that whole deal, Eugene. It'll all come out later.
Oh, it's funny. It's like he's going to Lord Mountbatten's fucking death site. It's like, man, the memories over there are fucking long. Who's anybody going to Aldo Moro's death site?
No. Who's Aldo Moro?
Yeah, I'm gonna name my first son Aldo Moro.
When is that happening?
The way I'm acting, you don't ever know. I know a guy whose name I will not mention. Woman shows up at his door. I think you're my dad. His son answers the door. He goes, yes. Said, is your father here? Yeah. Can I tell him who's calling? I think I'm his daughter. I said, hey, is he getting a paternity test? He goes, nah, he's too easy. So the father comes to the door and goes, who's your mother? She says, and he goes, come on in. He says, is he getting a paternity test? He was like, nah, he's too nervous to do that. So what's she doing? She's living there now.
Man, I was just reading about some gal that had been getting paternity payments from Paul McCartney since the 60s and pushed her luck and wanted more. And the DNA testing proved that she wasn't his kid. So she gave up a lifetime middle-class free living off Sir Paul.
Well, you know what? There's several Grimm's fairy tales about that. If the goose lays golden eggs, I got to cut it open and get the eggs from the inside. Come on, Don't do this.
Yep, don't make that mistake. So, all right, now I know who Aldo Moro is, Italian politician assassinated in 1978.
Well, you just looked that up. Where were you in 1978?
I was 8, Eugene.
Okay. Woo, boy. I got a guy here who I just trained with who is exactly half my age.
Did you tap him out with no mercy?
Fuck no.
Did he tap you out with no mercy? Did he take
that didn't happen either, but
I see. So what was the story with Aldo Moro? Was he killed by the Red Brigade or something?
Red Brigade.
Yep. Kidnapped.
I mean, these are the days when these guys would go into
Didn't
airports.
they slaughter a bunch of people at the airport? I remember that from a Time magazine spread when I was a kid.
Start shooting, which has permanently affected how I act in airports. Just like a friend of mine who I used to work with when I was at Nikon, got his brother shot out his eye, a BB accident, right?
Ooh, yeah.
So apparently there's an eye shooting out ward in the hospital. So he's in the eye shooting out ward, and he's got a room he's sharing with a guy, and he goes, "What happened to you?" The guy goes, "This is damnedest thing. I checked into a hotel." He was like, I'm not getting it. He goes, "Yeah, I checked in the hotel. I'm at the desk signing the register. A guy comes up next to me at the register. grabs a pen, goes, whoop, just stabs me in the eye. I go, why? He goes, no reason. So every time I fucking go, since then, I go to a hotel, I'm signing in, I'm like, hey, buddy, you stand over there.
Keep your hand up, yeah.
Keep your hand up, keep your fucking distance, you know?
Can't be too paranoid. That's the Eugene S. Robinson.
So you're picking Dodson.
I'm definitely picking Dodson, yeah. Although McCoskey's got a shot. He's a good scrapper, but I got to go with Dodson.
Yeah, only if McCoskey is actually from Poland.
He is of Polish descent, I believe. But Dodson's also coming back from a serious injury layoff. He might not be the same guy.
Do you realize in the same way that in Norway, it's, or in Iceland, it's everybody's got, daughter or son as a last name to indicate,
Yeltsin, Thorson.
Yeah, correct. So in Polish, female surnames end with ska, and male surnames are ski. So Makowski, if he had a sister, I don't know if I have this right. If he has a sister, I think she'd be Makowska.
Zelda Makowska?
Yeah.
Huh. That sounds like the sort of thing we cleaned up at Ellis Island.
You got that right. The hell with that, buddy. Your name is Smith.
That's right. That's enough of that Makowski. What are we doing here? Smith.
Yeah,
all right, let's move on to the pay-per-view card. Joseph Benavidez, John Moraga, flyweights.
Yes.
Now, Moraga's not the guy that... Who's the guy that got kicked out of the flyweight division for being too heavy all the time? That I'm always mixing up. And you don't know either, do you?
No, of course not. Yeah, how do you like that?
Yeah, see, at least I've got decades of heavy drug use to blame. What's your excuse?
I would say shots to the head.
Punches to the head. So, well, mine was a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Drug
use. I think you just admitted on the air to drug use, but that's okay.
It's practically legal, Eugene.
Not heroin.
No, and I haven't touched that. So I've never heard of anything.
Now we start drawing lines.
You see, I had some friends who were into some opium around the turn of the century, and every time I was around, there was no opium. And this stuff was around for like a month and a half, and they were telling tales of opium dreams.
I don't believe that shit. At this point now, with OxyContin, I'm not even believing half the shit that people are saying is heroin. I think it's just crushed up oxy,
Quite possibly. But anyway, they were having the time of their lives, and yet every time I showed up, there wasn't any around. It was just the story of my life.
It's like that time I was in Bern, Switzerland, and I was doing a show, and I said, I'm walking back to the hotel, and nobody told me I had to walk through Junkie Park to get there. And so there was like a upward winding staircase, and I see candles, and the first thing I go, that's cool, man. Some like art installation, like people just put candles. But then I see there are people sitting behind the candles with spoons over the candles. I go, oh shit, this is like a junkie stairwell. And the junkies are all poised, and they see me at the bottom of the stairs, and they're like, I don't know who this Negro is. Fuck it. So it was like an Esther Williams, like thing, because I go up 4 stairs, one guy would be, and the person 3 stairs up would be, and so it was like a junkie musical. As I went up to the top, there were literally 5 people who shot up as I walked to the top.
Was blood spreading out of their arms?
Yeah, it's like, no, man, I don't want your shit, man. I'm not gonna,
Well, everybody's heard, stories. It was John Lineker that missed weight so many times.
Yeah, Lineker, that's right.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So we care about Benavidez versus Moraga, and do you have a pick? Come on, this is an easy one, Eugene.
No, it's not.
You have to think about this. This is
a
no-brainer. This is a no-brainer for anybody with brains.
All right, I'm gonna go with Benavidez.
Yeah, I got to go with Benavidez too. What were you thinking about?
I don't know. I had something in my heart for Moraga, but
he's a slugger, but it's a classic slugger versus guy with good takedowns.
Yeah.
And pretty good fisticuffs as well.
Yeah.
All right, so heavyweights, Travis Brown, and I can't believe he's on a UFC pay-per-view, Andrei Arlovsky.
See, this is what we call a smoke screen. I mean, It gets hard. Now I suddenly can't think clearly. It's a fog of war.
These are the guys who used to train together, too. They claim that's making it a vendetta and it's going to be an action-packed, but I smell another one of Andre's Big Tim Sylvia's coming up.
Well, first of all, let me say we care, right?
Yeah, we care. We care. Definitely. Travis Brown is relevant, and I like Andre.
I don't know why this fight's happening, but I'm going to go with Travis on this one.
This is just because the UFC heavyweight division is that thin. I got to go with Travis, too, but do you think it's going to be a snooze fest or a
No. Well, hold on. I have to say the times where I've fought in competition, people who I know, you do fight differently, you know? I mean, you really have to, even if there's some animus, you really have to.
Well, hell, Andre was telling Tim Sylvia, how's taste my pee-pee, and they still weren't fighting. I mean, you know, like.
Well, because if a guy I'm training with says that, then I would think that shit was funny, you know. I mean, you know, unless, I mean, he was saying that because of some sort of, but, you know, it's like that is what.
It was a cuckolding reference that had to do with.
Yeah, but it's like what Tim Sylvia cared, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, I should be bitter about that time he swooped on me with Amber, the ring card girl, but who later ended up married to John Wood, interestingly enough.
John Wood. Who's John Wood?
John Wood used to run a gym out in Las Vegas, and then John Wood ended up with Colleen Schneider, who was a friend of Knuckle Up, a female MMA from Team El Nino, Melendez's team, who's now dating Josh Barnett. How do you like that? Oh, what a tangled web we weave.
It is a tangled web, and you were nearly mixed up in there because you talked to one of these chicks?
Amber.
Yes. So you talked to Amber, but everybody else was sleeping with everybody.
Yeah, that was.
So you would be like a dotted line connected. Maybe.
No, that was an uncharacteristic misstep. But I was at the press conference.
Because normally they call you the closer, right? Is that what?
You know. Well, it was one of the most embarrassing things ever because I'm like at the press conference and she's like shooting me this smoky look, and I'm looking, I'm like, what? And I'm like looking like she's like smoky, and then I do this thing. This is like the Joy Division moment. Made a fatal mistake. I'm looking, and then I go like this. Like you gotta be looking at somebody behind me.
And that was Big Tim, ready to.
No, he wasn't behind me.
He wasn't behind you.
There was nobody behind me, so I looked. There's nobody behind me.
You gave it away. You didn't have the confidence. Didn't have self-belief.
That's right. And I turned back, but I said, "Fuck that." I make a beeline for her afterward, you know, and I'm like, "Hey," and we start talking, and Tim was like the player-hating fairy. Bing! This big fucking prick is right there. Like, hey, baby, and he's wearing his like fucking heavyweight belt, and I was like,
Yeah, that must have been galling. I mean, yeah. Even when he was heavyweight champion, you don't want to lose a chick to Big Tim.
You know, the thing is, at that, she also, I mean, I heard things. I heard a few things.
I see.
Her and the bald guy. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that just seems like you should assume.
I mean, you know, guy's married. I'm not gonna put him on Front Street. What do I know?
I'm not one to judge, you know.
Don't you know?
Unless it's gambling, then I'm going to judge all day.
Hey, you know, we haven't talked about Nazis yet.
No.
But we just did.
We talked about the Red Guard, which is Red Brigade, which is the opposite of Nazis, but basically the same.
Actually, I've been reading some Mae Brussel about the Operation Paperclip and the connection between Reinhard Gehlen, John Dulles, and the Kennedy assassination. And you know what? It in my mind, it all holds together. But then where it all falls apart is at the end of the day, same guys are dead, man. They're not coming back.
No,
you know?
No.
And if he is coming back, I'm frightened.
Yes, that would be. It's a little late for the Kennedys to come back, I would say.
Well, and also my whole attitude in that has changed. Like I start to think about what not Elmore. Who was the guy who wrote L.A. Confidential?
Oh yeah, that guy. It is James Elmore, isn't it?
James Elroy, not Elmore Leonard. James Elroy, who said, you know, that in American tabloids, the Kennedys were about two things and two things only: looking good and getting laid. Fuck them. I was like, okay, but you know, but you get Reinhard Gehlen, Operation Paperclip, and then you know him going from Nazi Germany to the upper echelons of American power. It is kind of a skeevy two-step, but.
Well, we had to get to the moon, Eugene. We
Yeah.
had to get to the moon. So, yeah, they gave some Nazi citizenship.
You mean we had to get to the moon studio where they filmed the moon?
Is that where Hitler fled after
No,
the bunker? He fled to
by
the
submarine
moon.
from Spain to Argentina. Everybody knows that.
Everybody. I see.
Seriously, people who have no idea where the bunker is he was supposed to have died at just buy it. Even the Russians don't buy it, but millions of Americans buy it. Oh, of course he shot himself. It's a nice end to an unnice story, but
Yeah, well, I gotta admit, questions were raised when I realized that the skeleton they said was Hitler, the DNA didn't match. So,
thank you.
you know,
Thank you. Yeah.
questions were raised, but, anyway. So, moving along, we're both picking Travis Brown, and we care.
Correct.
All right. Donald Cerrone versus John Makdessi.
Good fight.
Yeah, big opportunity for Makdessi. This is a
I'm
light
done. I think
substitution.
I'm done picking against Cerrone. I think this is the first time I'm actually going to pick for him. I'm sober, and I'm going to pick for him. I care, and I'm going to pick for him to win. And watch what happens.
You might have just jinxed the Donald. Yeah, I think Khabib Nurmagomedov was going to just paste him.
Yep.
But and Makdessi's a good fighter. He's underrated, but he's also a little undersized. And I just think Donald Cerrone's going to just blitz him. I mean,
He
I
doesn't
just
know
think.
what money is, so that's a start.
Yeah, Cerrone, you mean?
Yeah, Cerrone, he doesn't know what money is.
Although he's griping about how much Reebok's costing him.
Oh, that shit's ridiculous, man. That's
Well, have you heard the alternate theory propagated by suspected UFC shill MMA Logic?
No, what?
This one, Logic's been silent, suspiciously silent for a while, but he popped up on one of Luke Thomas's posts on MMA fighting, and his theory had some evil genius to it. He thinks that they held back about half the Reebok money from the official what everybody gets pile. And he thinks that they're holding on to it so that guys like Cerrone are going to be getting extra Reebok money to keep him happy and to make him shut up. And that it's guys that weren't going to be making sponsorship money at all that are going to be screwed and getting the pennies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That sounds crazy.
That was the only thing that made any sense to me, though. I mean, either that or they were just so desperate to get the cash on hand to meet their EBITDA numbers so that their loan payments don't go up.
Yep. Earnings before tax income.
Yeah. And so they, so it was either a desperation deal that they took, or they're holding something back, and that to he that hath shall be given, and that the
I don't know, man.
so.
I find it as an outsider, I find it dispiriting. It's in the same way like when Joe Silva came up and tried to take my T-shirt off of my body, sitting cage side. It's like you're a multi-fucking-billion-dollar corporation here. You're gonna fleece me of a shirt because I got a URL on it. So you want me to sit here shirtless? Yeah. I said, give me a shirt. I'll wear whatever shirt you want. And Silver goes, okay, well, just don't open your jacket. When the prospect of giving me a free T-shirt came up, he was like, oh, okay, no. We don't want to.
I would love to see you and Joe Silva tangling over a T-shirt. That would
it was great, man. We were like, so Joe, you gotta,
Joe's like smaller than me.
Yeah, no, he's, and I was standing there with my grocery bag, which is what I used to use as my travel suitcase because I didn't have time to go to the hotel before the fight. So.
This is before Don Draper did it on Mad Men. You were way ahead of the curve, Eugene.
Really? You know what? A lot of shit that I've been doing is appearing on that TV show Archer. They got the black super spy who wears the Star of David. I think that people are not.
People are watching you, Eugene, stealing your ideas.
Yeah.
Nobody's been doing it to me for decades.
Maybe they are though.
All right, so we're both picking Cerrone, and I think it should be a quick finish.
Yeah.
So too bad for Makdessi. Good of him to step up, but he's coming in very short notice and moving way up the ladder. All right, now this is a fight we haven't even mentioned. I can't believe it. Middleweight title fight: Chris Weidman, Vitor Belfort light. This is the tab version of Vitor Belfort. Allegedly.
I care. First of all,
Hell yeah, of course, of course. We're at the point where, of course, we care. This is a hell of a card. We've hardly had any don't cares.
yeah,
Literally, all the don't cares were on Fight Pass. So,
yep. Well, you know what? I first of all, it should be said that I have made the long journey to the mountaintop, and I am now comfortably, unashamedly, unabashedly a Chris Weidman fan. You know.
good, good,
The
good.
guy, in my mind, he's made the right steps, has not made the wrong steps. There's rarely an occasion where he opens his mouth that I feel bad that he's done so, you know. And then he's introducing stuff that I think is super compelling. Plus, I love his whole backstory with the brother situation, asshole brother, and so on.
Hurricane Sandy? Huh?
What's that?
Hurricane Sandy?
What's that? No, I don't.
He lost his house in Hurricane Sandy.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that, but yeah, okay, yeah. That would maybe create a sympathy situation in my mind, but yeah, I'm gonna pick him. I'm gonna pick him for this fight, which much like Cerrone, probably single-handedly guarantees his loss. That fact alone.
I think the Nevada Athletic Commission guaranteed Vitor's loss in this one. Although I think it's also telling that the UFC didn't institute its new drug policy until after this fight.
Yeah.
But
well, you know, the thing is that they've only mentioned it in passing in regards to performance enhancing drugs, the steroids, and it hasn't been mentioned in any of these discussions with the NSAC or the TEVADA or all this testing. But the reality of it is, and I discovered this years ago when I was bodybuilding competitions, when they would do natural shows and they go, okay, modified natural. What's modified natural? You have to be non-performance enhanced for at least a year, and that qualifies as natural. And in response to that, studies were done, and steroids exert a muscle building effect up to 365 days after their cessation of usage. So natural is real. And anybody who competed in bodybuilding shows, especially the ones I did, the modified ones, knew they were bullshit. And I was standing at San Diego Naturals, in California Naturals, next to a guy who was like 275 fucking pounds. They did it by height division. So the guy was 6'1", I'm 6'1". I was like 205, standing next to a guy who was 275. It's like, natural? Get the fuck out of here. No way. No way, you know.
If you're not cheating, you're not winning, Eugene. You're not trying. I
mean, you're not cheating, you're not trying, you're not winning, you're going home alone. Yeah,
deflate gate, man. I mean, that's the all-American way. You know, cut some corners, do what it takes.
Well, win.
Just win, baby. Just win, baby.
My New England fans, it's like they're like, yeah, but what? There's no but here. There's no but. You know, like. For example, what I'm really enjoying is finally we're starting to see articles trickle out, and people are saying, "Hey, what do you think would happen if 192 black people engaged in an hour-long gun battle with cops and they were stabbing?" Go ahead.
I got 2 points on this one. One, the accounts I'm hearing of this, like as soon as the police announced that 18 people were wounded and 9 people were killed and no police and no civilians were shot, I was like, yeah. The Waco PD was in a gunfight with 2 motorcycle gangs and nobody took a shot, right? Except the motorcycle gangs. Okay, so I was already suspicious. And then secondly, the white-black thing is interesting, blah, blah, blah. The real point nobody's talking about, like you see it down in the bowels of some of these articles where they talk to these biker gang experts. These guys are veterans. The Hells Angels were founded by veterans.
Yep.
The fucking Banditos were founded by Vietnam vets.
Yep.
These guys, the reason for the Cossack gang having the muscle to challenge the Banditos is because they're Iraq and Afghanistan vets coming home. They're what they call antisocial veterans. These are guys who got a taste for guns and mayhem overseas.
That's actually like almost an Aussie piece, man. That's a good piece.
Hey, write it, dude. Just give me some credit for that, because this is the real shit. And this is American history all over. You know who the James Younger gang were? Veterans. I mean, they were veterans of a terrorist group, but still, this is an old American. I mean, almost all the guys in the Old West were veterans of the Civil War, all your real killers. And that's what's happening again, man. You send war off, it comes home. So, you know.
You're exactly right about that. And I mean, I remember when everybody came back from Vietnam, the face of drugs in New York changed aggressively, you know, because the drugs they were getting in Vietnam, being so close to Cambodia and Laos, were heroin. All those junkies coming back. Come on, man.
I thought it was a French Connection, Eugene. Get your story straight. Come
nah,
on.
Okay,
What about Popeye Doyle? Come
that
on.
was later. And even
Ah.
still, you just said it. Why were we in Vietnam to begin with? The French Connection.
Aha, good one.
French
That's
Indochina.
good. Yeah. Good stuff.
That's actually a much more compelling story. But the reality, I'm still stuck on this other thing. You know, because there were 192 Negroes shooting gun battle. They
Well,
stabbed.
what more could they do? They surrounded them and opened fire and killed 20 of them. Okay, I mean, like, you know, they weren't going buckwheat. They didn't all have them handcuffed face down in the parking lot. Because that was strictly a manpower question, I believe.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, you know, Waco. You know, I thought Koresh got railroaded myself.
to say the least, his
Yeah.
fucking guns were at a gun show in Austin. I could go on and on about this.
I was flying on my way to Puerto Rico, flying over Waco at that point, the siege, and I was like, "What the fuck? Are they having a flea market down there?" Because you could see it from the airplane, you know. And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's the Waco thing," you know. And of course,
yeah.
then recently, people have started talking about Move in Philadelphia as well, where they blew up blocks of real estate to get.
That was much worse, and nobody heard about that at all.
Yeah,
I
heard about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, black people heard about it.
Well, the reality of it is that we have something structurally improper right now. Right now, I could call Austin PD and say, Kid Nate barricaded in his house.
Don't give people any ideas.
Okay.
Yes, they call that swatting. The hackers call that.
Yeah, I know, no, but I'm just saying. So the cops show up to your house and they go, "Hey, can we talk to you for a second?" And you go, no, I'm in the middle of a show. They go, "No, we really have to talk to you." "No, I'm in the middle of a show." Tear gas,
Open fire,
stun guns. You're fucking dragged out. They're shooting the place up. This is life in America, you know.
The police are on hair trigger.
They're there to help by
Yes.
shooting you. I like that kind of help. I'd like to help more people that way. You know?
Yeah, like Carl Panjam called himself the guy who goes around doing good.
Yeah. Did he call himself that?
At one point, yes.
Especially if by good you mean strangulation murders.
Yes, strangle, sodomize.
Sodomy, the ultimate high.
Good old Carl. He knew what he liked. You can say that about Carl. And he knew what he didn't like, which was people. Yeah. I could have hanged 12 men by the time you're dicking around. Oh, good old Carl. But where are we? We're just rambling around.
Weidman.
Biker gangs.
I picked Weidman and you just picked no one.
I haven't picked yet, but I got to go with Weidman. I think the bigger question is this going to be a Randy Belfort style beating? Remember when they called what Randy did to Belfort the Belfortine?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a Belfortine. I think Vitor's going to be on his ass, up against the cage, bleeding from the head, and taking a beating until they stop it. That's what I think.
Well, you know, I like Vitor, but
hey, I love Vitor. He's one of the all times. You know, he's a legend of the sport.
I kind of see things going that way for him too.
Yeah, I mean, Vitor with his medicine had a chance early in the fight. Vitor sans le médecine.
We're international, baby. That's a third French reference we've made in this show. Things are happening. We've gone Vichy.
Hey, I'm reading a book about Pétain right now, or Pétain, whatever.
Pétain.
The guy betrayed the France to the Nazis, so I'll keep you posted on how that comes out. But yeah, it doesn't seem like a good guy. But anyway, so you agree with me? It's gonna be just a bloodbath.
Yeah, which should be a cause for concern for any touts out there. You know, this Cerrone and Weidman picks that we're making are confusing, but.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out Saturday. All right, so now the main event. Anthony Rumble Johnson, Daniel Cormier, light heavyweight title.
Yeah, okay, big care.
Of course we care. Cormier's going to pace him. Or at least lay and pray him.
We got some action then.
You think Rumble's going to beat Cormier? Really?
Okay, everything in my fiber says I should pick Cormier. One, he's a friend of Knuckle Up, been on the show before. Two, I've had spies in their camp watching him train. You know, he and Kane are just fucking setting the place on fire. But I'm looking at hand speed, and I'm looking at punching power. You know, and I'm looking at the fact that I don't think he can trouble Rumble enough with the wrestling for it to be a serious factor, you know?
Seriously? You remember, I mean, Rumble's been held down before. Rumble's been mugged. I mean, admittedly, that was when he was cutting a lot of weight and was dehydrated and debilitated. But, I mean,
And
Rumble,
also people forget the 1 or 2 years that Rumble spent at Kung Lee's place. So it's not like his stand-up is just, he's not a rampage, whereas I can punch and the kicking thing is strange and foreign to me. Nah.
he's got good kicks. His stand-up is sweet. I mean, I would pick Rumble to beat John Jones. However, MMA math isn't true. I just remember Koscheck holding him down and even Vitor Belfort holding him down. And just, you know.
Yeah, that was then.
Yeah, that was then, but, you know, I don't know. I just see Cormier holding him down.
So you're picking Cormier.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Plus good guys. Bad guys.
yeah, man, I don't know what my record is picking against a friend of Knuckle Up, and this I think maybe this might be the
Bad
first.
karma.
Yeah, this is the first.
You ought to be
time.
ashamed, Eugene.
I am bearing some small amount of.
If I had any friends, I'd never pick against them.
Yeah. Well, and also I don't want to pick for the wife beater, you know. But
The alleged. Okay, so only convicted once of smashing a phone, which is consistent with domestic violence pattern. It's a total controlling. It's one of the things Floyd Mayweather was convicted of, in fact.
well, it's just a frustrated trying to make a, you know. But I'm
Control.
not. So we have come to this the conclusion, me and those around me who care about me, that I am borderline high functioning autistic.
Oh, Asperger's syndrome? Is that what you're claiming? Asperger's? You're on the spectrum? Is that what you're saying?
I'm on the spectrum. They say what's deceiving is that she says that I've gotten a certain amount of charisma and I seem to be an extrovert, but the reality of it is that's not true at all. You know,
Does being around people make you more tired or more recharged?
It makes me tired.
So you're an introvert.
Yeah. So
even though I never leave the house, I'm actually an extrovert. The reason I never leave the house is because when I get around people and talk, I get too wound up and go manic.
Yeah. No, I people come up to me and tell me terrible stuff like, "Oh, my mother just died," and I'll be like, "Really?" I mean, I can't emotionally track, so that means she won't be there at Christmas, I guess. Well, I mean, I don't. Yeah. You don't know how many times, like when I first start, like seriously.
Eugene, nobody feels anything. You just learn to say, "I'm very sorry," and pat him on the shoulder.
But then I remember I went through this period of when like women were coming over, and I'd be like, "What is she doing here?" You know. And then like we'd be in bed watching TV. I was like, "Why is she in the bed here?" And then she like take her shirt off, and I go, "I guess she must be hot." You know,
that's just obtuseness. I mean, that's
yeah, maybe obtuseness. Maybe.
Are you like real upset if people want to taste your food?
Yeah, I'm not into that.
You don't like sharing your
hands
food.
off my fucking plate.
So possibly. Are you upset if routines are fucked with?
Yes.
I see.
How come you think I'm the most regular fucking bloody elbow contributor? I'm in Paris. I'm in Copenhagen. I'm doing the show.
It's true. Like, you know, you come through and do the show under circumstances most of my guys would be bailing on me on. Yep. I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the excuses I've gotten over the years. But so, well, you know, do you want some medicine or something? A handout? Are you looking for a handout? Is that what this is about?
If I was 15 years, 20 years younger, man, they would have had me tanked up on all kinds of things, you know.
So you're looking for drugs. That's what we.
I didn't say that. I'm fine.
What kind of drugs?
You know, wait. What do you got?
Well, what's this new one from Florida I was hearing about that makes you hump trees and run around naked, like Zacker?
I don't need a drug to get me to do that, you know.
Yeah, it seems like Florida man doesn't need any chemical inspiration. I mean, Florida man's always tanked up on something.
I signed up in Florida man. That Twitter feed's great, you know.
It's brilliant. Yeah, did you see it got written up in the New York Times? That's probably when you first heard of it. I was into it.
No. I actually wrote about it for Ozzy is like 40 articles deep of mine that have been unrun. And every time somebody else scoops us on something, I go to the boss and I'm like, so let's look at the date. I wrote this for you October 2014, and oh look, they just published a piece on it. Huh, funny.
Well,
I'm a dick. I'm a fucking dick.
Now you got to hit post. You see, we don't have that problem at Vox because we don't hold nothing for 40 days, Jack. I mean, you know.
Well, they don't want it to be like that guy.
Cut, paste, post. That's my editorial process.
Yeah, right.
Cut, paste, post.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We're not journalists. We're media.
Okay, hold on. Let me write this down because I wrote everyone down but Rumble because I don't want to do any sleazy next day slipping
Yeah. And did you write your knuckle up picks down? Because
I didn't say anything on the knuckle up because the knuckle up it was a short show because I was really jammed up and
I only got as far as the squirrels bit and then I had to stop and then get a chance
squirrels. To get back. When was the last time you saw a squirrel poop?
I've seen an entire house that had to be gutted and rebuilt because squirrels were in the attic.
I've seen today.
Squirrel scat is a small. It's sort of like rabbit poop.
No, today I saw a dog poop and I saw a cat poop. Okay, but how many squirrels did I see?
That's because squirrels poop in trees. Eugene, were you in a tree?
I was on the roof again.
I see.
On the roof again. Last night though, not this morning. But
squirrel poop looks like larger rat poop. It looks like vitamin supplements, like Orrin Hatch. Orrin Hatch would probably let you scoop squirrel poop up, put it in a vitamin jar, and sell it to people as a supplement. I mean, because it's
he running for president now?
Not Orrin Hatch, no.
Who's the guy who just Lindsey
Graham, South Carolina, Utah, completely different places, Eugene. Yeah. East, West, come on.
Orrin Hatch. I've been surprised that Orrin Hatch hasn't been caught in the men's room.
Lindsey Graham's the one I'm more surprised about. Orrin Hatch, I never got the gay vibe from.
Well,
But I never stood next to him at a urinal. So
wide stance.
Yeah.
That was when Robert Craig destroyed himself because people were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Was it Craig? It wasn't Robert Craig. No, wide stance senator bathroom. It was Larry Craig.
Larry Craig. All right.
Yes.
Larry Craig. Yeah. Anybody who had spent time standing in a men's room. When they heard that wide stance thing, they were like, "Get out of here!"
Now, I had a boss who did have a wide stance, but this guy was a raging psychopath he was like a Manson-esque figure of constant assertion of dominance. So,
but he said, "I have a wide stance," but he wasn't talking about standing at the urinal.
Yeah, he was talking about being in the stall playing footsie with the dude next door. But let me tell my wide stance story here. I'm trying to tell a story, and you're Donna Shalala and me.
Your boss. Go ahead.
All right, so my boss. So at one point, I made the mistake of going to the men's room right after he did, and I go in there. He's at the urinal with his hands on his hips like Superman, and he's pissing hands-free and splattering water and urine everywhere, like making a huge mess. And then turns around and looks at me like, ah, and I was just like, I fled. I wasn't even gonna pretend to go. Like normally with most dudes, you kind of hold your ground and go to the stall or something.
I hate men's rooms, man. There's always something creepy going on, and every time I'm in there, I hate them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just comfortable. I'm here to do my business. But this guy was, and also then there were rumors he had this assistant. This older black dude that was like his valet come, Man Friday. This is a very retrograde relationship. And he would put out rumors that the reason there was a pool of urine around the floor of the urinal was because of poor old Lonnie. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you verbally abuse this guy constantly in front of everybody, and now you're going to blame him because you're not just a slob, you're a fucking disgusting pig who stands there with no hands on his dick and pees everywhere. Yeah. And, anyway.
I had my first job out of college, I may have told you this before, was Perry White. It was HR placement, bullshit job. Terrible. I got through the newspaper, and I'm sitting next to Andy Wu. And the
Not
boss,
Andy Wu, the UFC fighter.
no, the boss comes up, puts his foot on Andy's desk, leans over the knee.
I got Adonis Shalala you on this one.
Okay, everybody, all of our listeners right now.
But the reason I'm doing it is because we haven't Adonis Shalala in a while, and it's a feature of the show. We got to keep it alive, Eugene.
Okay, what happened then?
I don't remember. I vaguely remember that you told the story before. That's all. That's all.
Anyway,
because I let you tell the same stories all the time.
He leans down into Andy Wu's face and says, "How could you be so?"
The power of the Adonis Shalala?
No. I've changed the story slightly.
Okay, all right. Well, tell today's version.
It says, "How could you be so goddamn stupid?" And Andy Wu starts crying. And I'm sitting right there next to him, and I look at the boss, and I want to communicate with my eyes as best I can. If you do this to me, I will beat you to death in this fucking office. You know, I've never been that desperate for a job. No way. Not even now. No way. You know, you take your life in your hands. So.
I see.
The other Andy Wu story ended somewhere else. I won't.
All right. Fair enough. But squirrel poop looks like it's slightly bigger than rat poop, and it's
That's not the point. The point is, you have never seen.
I have seen mountains of this shit because the fucking thing's ruined my friend's dad's attic, and I had to actually help them get up there.
You didn't see it.
I saw the nest, I saw the squirrels, I saw the poop, I saw the urine-soaked lumber and the gnawed lumber. It was obvious they had destroyed the entire attic and thereby the home had to have the entire interior rebuilt. So this whole Nazi hunter story about squirrels and rats, typical Nazi bullshit.
How do you know it wasn't rats?
Because we saw the squirrels, and rats don't live in trees and chew like that. Rats aren't arboreal.
Did your friend live in a tree?
He lived in a tall house surrounded by trees, and that's how they got inside.
Man, and I'm gonna, as a squirrel defense attorney, I'm gonna have to say,
after you call bullshit on my William S. Burroughs Nazi story, I'm not letting you get away with any apocryphal Nazi stories. That's my vow.
What William S. Burroughs Nazi story?
The one from his book, The Cat Inside, about how he claimed there was a Nazi ritual where they would raise a kitten, feed a kitten from birth.
Oh yeah, that's
and
bullshit.
Then cut the cat's eye out.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I don't know.
You can say anything about Nazis and people believe it. That was bullshit.
I think it's more likely it's a black magic ritual than necessarily.
Well, that's at the castle at Wavelsburg. There's a great book, Nazis in the Occult, that I've read, and they talked about some of the ceremonies at that. But I mean, Hitler was a big animal fan, you know, and Himmler, the chicken farmer, had a farmer's utilitarian take on animals. But he was also a softie. I mean, he went to one action because I guess he thought he should see it and found it repulsive, and which is why he kind of tried to come up with a cleaner way to dispatch human beings. You know, the only one who I don't think Hitler ever went, and I think the one who jumped in and really enjoyed it was Reinhard Heydrich. He was just thought it was great.
The Butcher of Prague. He was a bad actor.
Yeah, much like Mao, after his first torture session, was like, man. This is all right. This is entertainment. So
let's say Hitler, Mao, Stalin, and a healthy Lenin were all in the same political party. Who would have come out on top?
Oh, that's tough, man. I'm gonna have to go with Stalin.
Stalin, huh?
Yeah. He would. Maybe if you look at it, Mao, when he tortured that guy, who was his right hand man? Who was having liver problems. He goes, maybe you should go to see a doctor. And he goes, oh, thank you, Chairman Mao. He goes, I don't mean today. When
are you talking on the Cultural Revolution?
Yeah, who was the guy?
Liu Shikai.
Yeah. Who was Deng Xiaoping is the current guy. Xi Jinping is the current. Deng Xiaoping, I think it was, but he.
Deng Xiaoping was the understudy to Li Shaoqi, and Li didn't survive the Cultural Revolution.
But there's one guy. He was I think it was Deng. He just tortured him. But but that wasn't high-level maneuvering. I mean, Stalin had high-level maneuvering happening. You know.
Yeah, Stalin had maneuvering, but Mao's big secret was unleashing chaos from below. I mean, you know, and I know you're not into the Dungeons and Dragons. In Dungeons and Dragons terms, Mao is chaotic evil, and Stalin would be lawful evil. Like Stalin controlled everything from above, but Mao's the only guy I know of that could unleash chaos from below like that.
Yeah, he did that as well.
You know, I
He
mean,
killed more people.
he did. But
Yeah,
Chinese lives have always been treated at a discount. You know, I mean.
And now I think China's gotten crazy. So,
We'll see how it turns out.
somebody was talking about Xi Jinping.
Ominous.
It's like they decide we're a world power. We want to start acting like a world power. We're going to do some force projection, power projection. It's like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, look at these animals. They're going around Africa building bridges and factories. We can barely keep up with them with bombs and special forces and
I
assassinations.
got something for you. How many allies do they have in Asia?
China? Well, they don't need any allies in Asia.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could throw in
How many
India
allies
as
do we
well.
have in Latin America?
Yeah, they got a few.
All right, so I think we've wrung the washcloth out, Eugene. Anything else we need to say? And we're over time. So
now we got Rwanda, we got the drugs, we got the fight itself, we got Nazis, we got deviant sex practices and drugs.
Yep. I think we've covered check, and check.
Yep.
So you pick Stalin, I pick Mao. There we go. And Hitler wouldn't have hung with either of them.
No. Hitler was like Jello Biafra,
All talk, front man.
Yeah.
Couldn't keep his books
to stop
straight.
talking, last to stop talking, and never around to carry equipment.
Indeed.
The singer syndrome.
Indeed. And the royalty checks never balanced.
Yeah, they never made it out of his hands.
Yeah, you don't see Ian Mackay losing any lawsuits. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know what Biafra, last time I talked to him, he said about Mackay, where's the money gone? Because, Ian is like, I lived in the same house for years. I finally bought the Discord house. That's where I live. And Biafra's not buying it. He's like, where'd the money go? These guys like worse than junior high school girls.
Yeah, well, I think everybody knows Ian Mackay is loaded. I mean,
His last name's Mackay. Dear Lottie, could you lend me 2 bob until Tuesday?
That is a racist aspersion on the Scottish people.
This is my next poem. What's 20 bob to the oil company? Ewan McTeagle, the great Scottish poet.
Old school ethnic humor. Too bad we can't wallow in it. All right, so give us a like on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at KidNate. Read me at BloodyElbow.com. Read Eugene at Aussie.com. Sometimes at Vice's Fightland. Anything else we need to plug?
Yeah, there's something we got to plug. Not at Dallas. Let me tell you about that guy. He's no longer with us. Well, who's going to send me the money he used to send me?
I see. It's all being handled, Eugene. Trust me.
The last time I heard that, my ass ended up hurting.
It's still going to be in Ohio. We're upgrading, so you'll be very excited.
Look at him, everybody! Look at him! He's trying to get out of it.
No. If it might be Dallas again next month if we don't have all the paperwork done, but the month after it'll be new management. They'll just send in a W-9 to the new folks. So
okay,
yeah, you'll find out.
Fucked up, but okay.
Hey, it's the law.
It's already on file.
It's a different entity. This is not. We're on the air, Eugene.
How do you like? At one point, I was like, "Man, you got all this stock. Great. What can I get money for?" Well, no. Well, why not? Well, you just vested. Well, what's the vesting schedule like? Well, we don't really know, but there's got to be an event. Well, what kind of an event? Well, an event. It's like you got to be. It's like a Chico Marx shell game. Okay. All right.
Nonsense. All above board, Eugene. All above board.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, LLCs, W-9s, 1099s, the works, kid.
You know what? My last piece at Bloody at Viceland fell apart over $50, and I said, I just read the Financial Times. The Vice valuation is $4 billion now. $4 billion.
That's insane.
Yeah, and
Anyway.
they're like, well, my budget's not $4 billion, so I can only give you 150 for this, not 200. I'm like, yeah, I can't do it, man.
Man.
No, Jim, I just can't. You know, prostitution is one thing, but this is just I just can't. 50, no.
Street tricks. You got to at least, the John has to bring his own car. Is that what you're saying?
That's it. So I bring the condoms. I bring what? You know, come on.
I'm not doing the deed right here on the street corner. You got to have a car, dude. No walk-ups. No walk-ups. I'm on my
I remember the Lower East Side, man, down by 2+2 where the Bad Brains used to play. You look over at the park, and there'd be all these hookers sitting on park benches blowing guys. And I was like, you know what? There's actually something sort of liberating about, I got to go over to the park to get a blowjob. I'll be back in about 10 minutes.
The good life, they call it. I believe Aristotle wrote some paeans to that. Anyway, I believe we've got all our plugs. I'll be back tomorrow with the vivisection. Zane and I'll, with Zane and Connor. Zane and I'll be back on the 6th round.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a new meme Eugene's working on. Or I believe it's a completed meme he's trying to get to catch on. Another one of his patented one-man memes, which the Dallas thing you actually did turn into a meme. With
let me tell you about that guy.
Yeah, see. But I think the one-man meme thing caught on faster. Yeah. But I'm bringing it back now that you're trying to get. All right, so we'll have 6th round on Saturday night after the fights. Then Eugene will be back with Knuckle Up on Monday. Rinse and repeat. I don't even know what's coming. This is so epic. I have no idea what's coming next. We've got a few more fight nights. Condit versus Alves. That's not bad. And then when Tim Budge versus Dan Henderson. That is bad. And UFC 188, Velasquez versus Verdum. So we've got a pretty packed schedule coming up. So anyway, adios MMA aficionados. Thanks, Eugene. We'll see you next time.
All right, man. We'll see you.